Cooking for a crowd can be stressful, but fear not, because today I'm sharing my foolproof 3-course meal that will make you look like a pro. From appetizer to dessert, I will share exactly how to coordinate timing, nail each dish, and build a cohesive menu that will impress your guests. Before we get into the dishes, if there is one lesson that you take away from this video, it is to minimize the number of elements that you have to cook when your guests have arrived. That will ensure that there is minimal stress and you, as the host, get to spend the most amount of time with your guests. For the first course, I've picked my grandmother's tomato shorba or soup. I've picked this dish because it can be prepared the day before, and all you need to do at the time of serving is reheat and garnish. It's light and refreshing, which gets your guests' palates ready for the next couple of courses, and at the same time, it's warm and comforting in its flavors. For the first course of any meal, I like to pick a dish that is served at room temperature or cold. It means that there is less stress before getting out that first dish from the kitchen to your guests. A well-executed first course sets the tone for the evening and lets your guests know that they're in for something special. The trickiest part in this dish is getting the balance of the spices and the tomatoes right, but if you follow my recipe step by step, it'll be absolutely delicious. Prepare this soup the day before and chill it in your refrigerator. It's actually better because it allows the flavors to mingle with each other. And then, when your guests arrive, you can heat this in a covered pot gently and pour it into individual serving bowls and garnish with a leaf of cilantro. Absolutely delicious. When it comes to the main course, it is the highlight of the night, so I want to pick a dish that is impressive and yet it's relatively easy to prepare. I want to wow my guests, but I don't want to add additional stress because a stressed host is not a fun host. For the main course, I've picked my ginger chili shrimp and I'm serving it with my street-style chow mein. That's how you would find it on the streets of India. Now, I've picked these two dishes because they're incredibly quick to make, which means that while my guests are finishing up their appetizers, I can spend about 10 minutes in the kitchen and the main course comes together magically. Although these dishes are super quick to make, they have a lot more intense flavor than the first course. Think of your menu like a story where each chapter is even more exciting than the previous one. The great thing about these two dishes is that both of them use very similar ingredients, which means that the prep is simpler. It also means that I can cook both of these dishes in the same pan, which means fewer dishes, and what's not to love about that? The other reason why I picked these dishes is because both of them can be cooked up to a certain extent prior to your guest's arrival. So I boil the noodles, fry the shrimp, chop all my vegetables, and even measure out the sauces in individual bowls at least an hour before my guests arrive. That means that I don't have to deal with multiple tablespoons and bottles and ingredients when my guests are waiting for their main course. The other reason why I picked the main course is because shrimp takes a very short amount of time to cook, so I won't be stressed about whether my main course is fully cooked or not when my guests are finishing up their appetizers. The key thing to watch out for in these dishes is the prep. There are quite a few ingredients to prep, and so I would make sure that I do it when I have enough time. The other element to watch out for is not overcooking the shrimp. Shrimp can get overcooked pretty quickly, so just follow my recipe step by step and you'll have perfect results. I wouldn't cook the shrimp for more than 5 minutes, including the frying time. For dessert, I've picked my gulab jamun. It's a crowd pleaser and it's one of those desserts that is better if it's prepared the day before. A great menu tells a flavor story, and your dessert is your final memorable chapter. The main course had bold flavors, and so we don't want to back down when it comes to dessert. The cardamom and the saffron in the gulab jamun add an aromatic punch that balances so well with the richness of the gulab jamun. Make the gulab jamun the day before and immerse it in the cardamom and saffron syrup and put it in your refrigerator overnight. The resting time will allow the gulab jamuns to soak up that flavorful syrup and become saturated with the floral aroma of cardamom and saffron. Right before you serve the gulab jamun, warm it up for about 30 seconds in the microwave or gently for a couple of minutes on the stove covered, and serve it with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. The contrast between the soft, luscious, warm gulab jamun and the cooling, creamy vanilla ice cream is a perfect match that all of your guests will thoroughly enjoy. Here's the real secret to hosting. Perfection is overrated. The magic of a great dinner isn't in flawless plating or Instagram-worthy dishes. It's in the laughter, the shared stories, and the memorable moments that happened around the dinner table. Your menu is just the backdrop for the connections you create. If you're feeling adventurous and want to add a fourth course to this menu, then check out my recipe for honey chili potatoes.